počujete a že na obrazovke vidíte prvý obrázok z mojej prezentácie. Pokiaľ by tak nebolo, tak sa prosím ozvite. Ešte než začneme, možno nejakí ďalší ľudia, pokiaľ prídu, tak by som si dovolil zo pár technických pripomienok. Ja si určite teda kameru počas prezentácie vypnem, aby som nezaberal internetové pásmo moc, aby naozaj ste dostali tú kvalitu, ktorú si zaslúžite. Je nás pomerne málo, takže pokiaľ by ste počas tých ukážok mali akúkoľvek otázku, nebojte sa skočiť nám do rečí, pokojne si zapnite mikrofón, spýtajte sa a vlastne celé tie ukážky budú v angličtine, ale pokiaľ by ste mali akúkoľvek problém s tou angličtinou, tak môžete využiť četovacie okno, napíšte tam do toho spoločného chatu otázku, kľudne aj v slovenčine, ja ju za vás pretlmočím, aby sme zodpovedali skutočne na všetko, čo budete chcieť. A už ste asi postrehli, že sa celý webinár bude nahrávať, že sa teda nahráva, takže keď skončíme, spracujeme ho, trošku ho zostriháme, aby bol použiteľný pre náš YouTube kanál, tak potom vám aj vašim kolegom pošleme k dispozícii odkaz, kde si budete môcť dnešný webinár pripomenúť. A vyzerá, že zatiaľ nikto ďalší nepribúda, takže ja by som si dovolil začať s tým všeobecným úvodom. Moje meno je Ladislav Svršek, som zo spoločnosti Albertina IKV Bratislava a dnes vám chceme predviesť službu SciFlow, ktorú máte ako skúšobný prístup alebo ako na vyskúšanie v rámci Univerzity Komenského k dispozícii. Na začiatok zo pár slov k našej spoločnosti a potom už odovzdám slovo Frederikovi Eichlerovi, ktorý vás prevedie tou službou samotnou. Albertina IKV Praha alebo Albertina IKV Bratislava. Praha je naša materská spoločnosť, my v Bratislave fungujeme asi od roku 1996. Možno nás poznáte, pretože sme dlhoročným dodávateľom informačných zdrojov pre vedu, výskum a výučbu, ale samozrejme pracujeme a dokážeme poskytnúť aj informácie k rôznym nadstavbovým nástrojom, či už sú to nejaké federatívne vyhľadávače, ale aj iné nástroje súvisiace s akademickým publikovaním, s integritou v akademickom publikovaní a podobne, o čom vlastne dnes bude reč práve v súvislosti s službou SciFlow. Samotný SciFlow si môžete predstaviť ako kolaboratívny nástroj. Mnohým možno bude pripomínať Google Docs, ale Google Docs je príliš všeobecný. Akademické písanie je predsa len špecifické, striktnejšími pravidlami, nenosia sa tam individuálne štýly, je potrebné dodržiavať štýly, ktoré predpisujú jednotlivé akademické vydavateľstva, jednotlivé akademické inštitúcie, takže ten priestor na nejakú vlastnú kreativitu tam príliš nie je. Na druhej strane je o mnoho jednoduchší ako napríklad Overleaf, pokiaľ ho poznáte, alebo LaTeX, ktorý tiež teda vie pracovať na tej veľmi formálnej úrovni, ale je technicky o mnoho komplikovanejší. Tou výhodou je hlavne tá možnosť kooperácie viacerých autorov a všetko ostatné, čo dnes uvidíte, súvisí v podstate práve s tými špecifikami, ktoré sú v tom akademickom písaní dôležité, počínajúc správnym citovaním, štýlmi toho citovania a končia s formátovaním pre rôzne typy akademických vydavateľstiev, prípadne možnosť vytvoriť šablóny, ktoré sú priamo použiteľné na vašej univerzite, ako napríklad urobili, až teraz si nespomínam, na ktorej univerzite v Českej republike, ale začali používať šablónu aj pre diplomové práce, čiže tí študenti nemusia používať nejaké komplikované šablóny pre Word, pracujú priamo v SciFlow a ten výstup je taký, ako tá univerzita od nich požaduje. Ako som spomínal, na Univerzite Komenského teraz je skúšobný prístup, ten je až do 2. mája, takže chceme, aby ste počas tých 2 nasledujúcich mesiacov mali čo najviac možností a času používať tú službu. Na to je zameraný aj ten dnešný webinár, aby ste pochopili tie základné funkcie. V Českej republike sú už aj inštitucionálni predplatitelia, teda univerzity, hlavne univerzity, ktoré SciFlow využívajú. Nie sú tu všetky, toto je len niekoľko z nich. V Českej republike ich je tuším 11. A za mňa je to všetko, nechcem viacej príliš zdržiavať, pretože ten čas chceme naplniť tými živými ukážkami. Takže teraz prepneme do angličtiny and now it's your time, Frederick. You can go. Share your screen and it's your turn.
Thank you very much. So again, a warm welcome from my side. I will just start by sharing my screen and then, of course, continue in English because my Slovak is a bit rusty. But I can promise that I will bring some other languages into the demo that I will do in a minute here. So you should now be able to see my screen, and this is also the most important link if you want to follow along today. I will also just put that in the chat. So if you want to follow along, if you want to sign up yourself, try the things that I'm showing, you can just follow along and then you can sign up on your own. We will also share this link with you as well as the recording of this webinar. So if you want to take a look later or you want to share this with a peer, with a colleague, you can certainly do so. So this is your starting page, and the one reason why this is very important is this sign up form. So please, when you sign up, make sure that you use your institutional email address, and that will make sure that we will get that you're from the university and you get all the pro features that I will show you. And then, of course, if you want to take some time later to scroll down, you can also get a quick overview of all the features that SciFlow has as a platform for you. For instance, if you are a researcher, you might be very interested in our journal database, where you can start writing a research article. Or if you're a student, you might be interested in writing a thesis. And of course, we'll show this today as well. And then there are a couple of pro features that you can benefit from when you're joining with your email address. And one of them I want to show right in the beginning. If you have any questions, you will always find this little button on the bottom left. And this chat support is available to you as a trial customer, or then if you go ahead and your university actually gets the full license, this is available always to you. So if you have any questions, how does reference management work? How do I improve my thesis or my template? You can always ask these questions and we'll get back to you. And of course, webinars and other features that I will show you in a minute are included as well. But let me go away from the website now and let me actually show you what SciFlow looks like. So if you haven't seen SciFlow before, after you sign up, entered your email and your password, you will get into the SciFlow interface for the first time. And it will show you the opportunity to actually create a document, create a thesis, or create a journal article. I want to do this little demo in two parts. So if you are a student, just wait a couple of minutes. I will start with researchers today. I'm going to pretend I'm a researcher and I want to start a research paper. But then in the second part of the demo, I will go to students and I will show you how to write an assignment or a thesis. So as a researcher, I can either start from here, create document, or on the left-hand side, you can also see templates. And this is where the magic really happens for you. So if you haven't seen SciFlow before, we do a lot of the things that you would have to do as a researcher manually. We do this automatically. So if you don't know yet what kind of publication you want to work for, you can find all the important style guides here. So whether you're in medicine or in engineering, or in social sciences, you can find a lot of the starting points for your discipline here already. For me, I already know kind of like what I want to work for. So I click on journals here, and you can see this is a pro feature. There's over 5,000 journals in here already. So I can just go ahead and maybe look for psychology. And now I can find all the psychology journals that I want to might want to write for. And then, of course, I also get some more information. you can see we already recognize that this is has a citation style that is author date. This journal belongs to Elsevier, and it's called Acta Psychologica. And what I can now do is I can just click here, and I will pretend to now be a researcher that wants to write for this journal. And what I can see immediately is all the guidelines that come for these journals are automatically included. And you will see this as a student as well. For institutional templates, the structure of your document is already aligned to the guidelines from the department or from the university in general. So what is really nice here, if I just pop over to the document outline, I can see that all the things that I'm supposed to write about when I want to publish in this journal are already here. What you can also see is that SciFlow opened up without me having to install anything. So this works in any browser. And basically, it's very simple to use. So you can see, of course, there's some text here that I can write to, but also there's a very limited number of buttons here. You can remember from Microsoft Word, there's a lot of different buttons. We actually only give you the buttons that you need to do this publication, because the journal, in this case Elsevier, does not allow you to change the font size or arrange things in a different way. They actually want you to do it in a very particular way, and we already know that, so we can do that work for you. Before we take a first look at my publication, because I already have some text, I would just like to guide you through a couple of the features that are going to come in very handy if you want to write a research paper. But of course, if you're a student, the same things apply. So the first thing after the outline here, you can see is the Authors tab. And this Authors tab is super important if you want to invite a colleague or a fellow student to write with you, or maybe even just add comments. So what you can do here, if you click Invite an Author, you can say, I want to invite someone as a co-author, or maybe I want to invite them comment only, and that means they get access to the document, they see what's happening, but they can actually not change anything, which is super helpful if you want to invite your thesis advisor, or if you're writing a journal article, the other person is really just there for review. You don't have to give them full access to your publication. Now, of course, what I can do is I can copy this link by clicking copy, or I can enter the other person's email address and then invite them to the document that way. And then within a couple of seconds, actually, you will see that these people can join the document, and you can both start typing just by entering the text. And you can see my real account already joined. So if I now want to change something like the document title, you can see I'm actually typing here, and I'm changing everything. And you can also see that little cursor that appears. So if I make some changes, you always know who is working and what they're changing. Of course, there's a lot of things that you can do if you're writing a paper or a thesis together. It's not only just writing together, but of course, you can also use other features. For instance, of course, you can start a conversation just by selecting some text, and you can add a comment and just send that. Or something that I really like to do, sometimes you're not really sure, do you want to change this word? Is this really abstract, or should this be a summary? Then I'm just going to suggest a change here. So I'm going to write summary, and let me write something else. This correct. So this will happen to you a lot when you're writing. And I will just send this off to my alter ego. And actually on my other screen, I now got a notification that there is a question, a change that was suggested. And what I can just do on my other screen real quick is I can say, yeah, that's perfect. I like that. And you can see the change was accepted and the text was changed automatically. The really nice thing about this is that if you're quickly approaching the publication deadline, you can always go back to the archive and you can see all the changes that were made and why they were made and what discussion followed. So this is a really neat feature that a lot of people really enjoy, because it gives you a lot of control over your document. Of course, all of this happens in real time, so you can also see if someone is writing at the same time. But sometimes it's nice because you're not in the same room, or maybe not even in the same time zone. Moving on, of course, there's a lot more that I would like to do with my co-author. Maybe I want to do a spell check. We do integrate a language tool for your spell checking. So you can see there's a little bubble down here. And if you made any mistakes, like maybe you missed a comma, you can automatically add it here. And of course, you can also switch the languages, which then allows you to write in a lot of different languages that in this case were auto-detected because this document is in English. Of course, you can also disable language tool, and then you can say, well, I have Grammarly already, or I have Writeful, or I have some other tool. And you can just activate that in your browser. And since we just disabled language tool, which comes with it, you can use any other spell checker or tool that you're already using with SciFlow here as well. So this is really nice. If you have your own tool, you can use it. If you don't have your own tool, you can just enable this or just use language tool as we bring it. And of course, get benefits of automated grammar and spell checking here. The next thing that is really important as a researcher is, of course, I have my reference library. In my case, I'm using Zotero. So if you don't know what Zotero is basically a free online reference manager that is not only free, but it's also open source. So this is why I personally really like it. But of course, SciFlow supports all of the reference managers out there. So no matter if you're using EndNote, Citavi, Citace, like any of these, they work with SciFlow. I just prefer Zotero because it's free and open source. So what I'm going to do now, I have a reference here already. And what I have done is if you click on the reference library, you can actually connect Zotero live. So it will automatically fetch all the references that you have in your reference manager, in this case, the reference demo. And then all I have to do in my article is I take this, I drag it to, well, let's not drag it into an abstract because that's not good scientific practice. Let's drag it into, well, that's a graphical abstract, but I hope you will forgive me. You can see I dragged it into the text and it automatically appears. And now I can maybe say this happened on page 2, and it automatically formats this as well. So this is really nice because we can automatically integrate your references into your text. The really nice thing if you're working with someone else, of course, is that if they have their own reference library, they can also drag a reference into the text. So let's assume that this reference actually comes from a colleague of yours or another student. You can see they can drag it in, and this is still their library. But when I click to this document, this is the really nice collaborative aspect. All the references that your colleagues or your friends, your fellow students dragged into the text also are available to you. So now you can share all the references in this document. And of course, in the end, we'll automatically do the bibliography for you as well, which is a lot of work if you've done this before. And we basically save you the time by automatically doing this. And of course, let's have a look what that looks like. So what I'm going to do is click Download Word. And what this does in turn is it will give me the document as it can be submitted, in this case, to Elsevier. So all the formatting was done automatically. You can see all the text changes were here. This is exactly the style that Elsevier expects me to submit to their journal. And you can see, of course, all the changes. But more importantly, in the end, you can also see the references, and they were automatically formatted according to the reference guide provided by Elsevier, which is another win because I didn't have to do that. I just connected Zotero, I dragged them in, and then please, if you do this, of course, update the text because this will not get accepted. But if you do so, at least the formatting and the reference formatting will be done automatically for you. And you can also see that all the authors were added automatically because I joined with my other account, and then I joined with my demo account, which I was using here. So of course, you can also use this as a student, but you would expect a PDF and not a Word file. So in the second part of this demo, I will show you how to do the very same thing, create a new document, but this time write a thesis. Just to break real quick, if you have any questions, if there's anything that I should go over in more detail, please feel free to use the chat. I will keep monitoring the chat, and then if you have anything that you want to know, then I will try to answer those questions towards the end. Okay, so we've looked at the workflow as a researcher. The very last thing that I can maybe do is I can pretend that some changes happened while I was asleep. And there's one last pro feature that I really want to show, and this is super helpful for students and for researchers, which is the document history. So I'm just going to click that. And what you will actually see here is the complete history of everything that happened in a document from between I created it to the current time. So you can imagine maybe a couple of weeks have passed by and you've made a lot of changes and you just want to know, well, when did we make this important change? Or what happened since I was in the document the last time? So you can now actually here, you have a next button here. You can actually go through and it will highlight all the changes that were made in the meantime while you were away. So this is super helpful if you're not typing at the same time, but rather you just want to see what your colleague or your fellow student wrote while you were away. But enough of research now. Let's go back to the very start and let's actually now pretend that I'm a student. So again, I can just click create document. I could even import a manuscript. If I have a Word manuscript already, I can use the importer. This is available to you as if you identify it with your email address as well. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click templates again. And this time I'm not going to click journals or academic styles. This time I'm going to go to thesis. And if your university actually decides to continue with SciFlow, you might even get your custom thesis templates here with your faculties, with everything else. But even if that's not the case yet, you can already get started with the standard thesis, and you will see that it probably has a lot of the things that you need out of the box already, including, of course, different languages. So I'm going to be brave here and choose Slovak as a language and try to understand what the chapter headings mean. And I can, of course, also choose a citation style. So if you're more in engineering, then you can choose maybe IEEE. If you're more into in psychology, then, of course, APA is a great choice. But you also don't have to choose that if you don't know yet, because we do support all Zotero styles. So if you have a style that you need to follow, it's pretty much guaranteed that there's a Zotero style that will do this already. So enough of me babbling about the different ways you can start a thesis. Let's just start writing. Again, what will happen now, just like when I did this with the journal, I will get thrown into the editor. And what you can already see is that we've set up a cover page for you. Because if you write a thesis, of course, what do you need? A cover page. Needs to have all the details, needs to have your name, needs to have maybe your student ID, and all this information that's important. And of course, there's also a placeholder for the logo. So if your faculty has a logo, it can be inserted by us automatically. Now, you can also see that there's some content here already, abstract, introduction, methods, discussion, and then, of course, conclusion and the reference list. And then the rest, the standard template has an appendix at the end. But of course, this could depend on your faculty. And as a licensed institute, all the faculties can get their own templates. So if one professor or one faculty has specific requirements for formatting, we can basically give you the link to get started with that, and you get this nice structure out of the box without you having to do anything. I'm going to make this worse now by pasting in some Latin text, because again, I don't have a good command of Slovak, but just to show you what it looks like to add a bit more text, because this is a very lonely thesis so far. Let me just add a bit more so we can get a real idea of what a full document will look like. And you could, of course, paste from Microsoft Word or any other tools that you have. And you can see the reference list is still empty. And I'm not going to write anything here because, as you know, we can do this automatically for you, so you don't have to do it. So, but let's start at the beginning. I showed you already how to invite a co-author. So maybe now you want to invite another student you're working with, or you want to invite your friend who is very good at grammar, but should not write in your thesis as comment only. They can make suggestions. They can maybe add a comment, but they cannot change the document, which is important. If you're writing as a student, you want to make sure that's your work. But I'm going to show you a couple more things, of course, here as well. So let's just pretend again to drag in a couple of references. So I will say this was cited here, and then this one belongs here. I can again, of course, go ahead and add a couple more details. But what I can also do is sometimes you have two references at the same time. And let me just find another reference, add that, and you can see you can also cite two references together, of course. And there are a couple more options that we will show you. If you go to the support and you look for reference management, then you can find a bit more there. This is also true if maybe you don't find your reference manager here. So let's say you're not using Zotero, but you're using something else and you don't find it. You just click this little button down here. You can actually search or for your reference manager, or if that doesn't help, you can just say, send us a message, and then we will get back to you in the chat. So this is always useful if you get stuck. But for now, I'm happy with Zotero. I've added a couple of references. And now scrolling to the bottom, I can actually now see that all these references appeared here automatically. This is why I'm not writing anything here. I could, but I don't want to do the manual work. Because as a student, you have enough to do with the content of your document, and you don't really want to do all the formatting of the references as well. And another tip, something that I like to do is in the beginning of the document, when there's just the outline, I sometimes already drag the references that I think might be important in this chapter in here. So they're already here. And then if someone else looks at the reference list, they can already kind of see which kind of references you were using. So this is very helpful. Of course, if you decide you want to write in another language, you can always go into the menu and then change to whatever other language you want to write with. This change the language. Of course, you have to change the text yourself, but that you probably already know. And then more importantly, you can, of course, also change the citation style. So if you weren't happy with APA, which I used for my demo, you can also use other citation styles here. Of course, spell check is available to you just as for researchers, and all the other features like the document history are available to you as well if you're writing a thesis. Before I show you what the thesis actually looks like, let me show you a couple of more things from the top. So far, you've probably seen that you can do bold and italics, superscript, these kind of things. Of course, you can also enter long quotations and lists. You also have a cite button here, which works if you don't want to drag something into the text. You can, of course, also click the cite button and insert a citation. But what I want to show you is a couple more things: figures, tables, code, and equations. Those four are really important depending on what kind of thesis you're writing. So if you have a lot of tables, you might just want to jump in here. You want to go into the place where you want to add the table. You can click table. If you already know how many columns, rows you have, you can click create. Otherwise, of course, you can also copy and paste from Excel or somewhere else, and you click create table. The most important thing for you as a student now is that your advisor will always require you to have a caption for any table. So I will say a sample table. You do better than I do. And then, of course, another good practice is a table is nice, but if it's not mentioned in the text, actually, that's not a good thing either, because that just means it's floating, but it has no context to the text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the document outline. I'm going to look for my sample table, and I'm going to drag this into the text here as well. And I can say, as seen in, and then you can see it kind of like inserts the table already. And in the export, we will see that it actually does the numbering for you as well. So here you don't care about it. You just say this table. If another table comes before and that's a higher number or lower number, you just know you drag it in and it's now actually referenced here. And you can, of course, also do this with chapters. So you could say, this is the discussion. Later in the discussion, I will mention something. As mentioned in. You can now have discussion in here. And if discussion is chapter 3, it will put chapter 3 here. If discussion is chapter 4, it will put 4 here. So you don't have to worry about it. So this is really nice if you're working with tables. Of course, you can also work with figures. So next thing I want to do is add a figure. Again, I click into the text, I click on figure, I upload an image, and now I'm just going to do, I have a nice sample image of an X here, so I'm just going to use that. Of course, this needs a caption. And then I'm all done. I can also add notes. I can reference the figure. I would recommend that you do that. But generally, this works really well. So now maybe I want to see what this looks like. And since you want to hand this thesis in, you probably want a PDF. This can be formatted according to the guidelines of your university, but this standard template already has a lot of the things in here. With the institutional license, then of course, even the faculties get their own template. Now I can scroll through. You can see this is double-sided printing, so that's why there's a white page here. And now I can actually scroll through and I can see the abstract is here. It's Roman numerals. The table of contents was created automatically. The table of list of figures and a list of tables was created automatically. It does all the numbering correct. So usually the requirement is that the first pages start with Roman numerals, and then you get to Arabic numerals, 1, 2, 3. And you can see this was automatically done as well. You can also see that my references were automatically placed in the text, and I choose APA style as a format. So APA was already applied, and I can even click here, and I can see that the references were automatically formatted according to APA. Now, just if you haven't seen this before, this might seem like, yeah, this is nice, but where's the magic? Let me just do something. Let me just change the citation style. I'm going to go to IEEE, so it makes a big difference. And I'm just going to show you the same document again. And I'm going to go to methods. And what you can see here, since the citation styles changed, the APA citation now is a 3. And the 3 is also in front of the table of references. And also the references have changed. And this is really where the magic is happening, because you don't have to do any of the formatting. It will do it for you. And will even put it in the right order in the way that you cited something. And then if you go back, you remember I mentioned a couple of tables. Here's the table. I mentioned the chapter 3. It's all linked automatically. So now if you just want to, I don't know, maybe you want to add a new chapter. Let's add a new chapter here. And this is now my new chapter. Whatever number comes after that, it will now automatically change the numbering as well. And this is basically what we try to do with SciFlow, is we want to give you all the tools that just work automatically, so you don't have to worry about the formatting. So you can see everything else. The counting automatically updated. Also same if you're inserting footnotes, everything else. And then, of course, if you have cross-references and there is a new table or a new chapter, in this case it's 4, it is updated automatically for you. You don't have to worry about it. Sometimes, of course, there's other things. So you might have source code. If you're more computer science oriented, you can also add that. You can add your source code here. Use it in the same manner as you did with figures. And if you're working with equations a lot, we've actually talked to, I will say, thousands of researchers by now. And one thing that they all said is, can you please give us the ability to insert tech into our documents, because we're working with tech, but we also work with people who don't know tech. So can you integrate this easily? And this is exactly what we've done here. So if you know tech, you can insert these equations already. We also have some help here if you're not used to this already. But then for the people who do not know tech, they just look at the equation and it looks good. And it looks good in the export as well. And of course, you can cross-reference this and do all the things that you used to from the other things. It shows up here. You just drag it into the text and you now cross-referenced your equation. That is automatically going to be numbered. And this is, of course, really important if you have anything related to equations. There are a couple more controls here, but I think they will be mostly self-explanatory. The last thing you might want to check out is if you use footnotes a lot, of course, you can just select some text, select footnote, and it will put that into a footnote for you automatically. But this is pretty much it. There's not more you have to do. Just make sure all your references are organized, organize your document according to the guidelines, or maybe even use the ones that we provide here. And then in the end, just click export, and it will do everything for you, so you don't have to do it on your own. So this was a quick run through everything that we can do for you, no matter whether you're a student or maybe you're a researcher. So I would just take some time now just to have a look if there's any questions in the text, in the chat. And I posted again, I promised that in the beginning, actually. I posted again the link. So if you want to click that link, you will go to this website. And if you have any questions after the fact, if you want to sign up, if you're looking for more information, this is really the best place for you to start and to get acquainted to SciFlow. And then, of course, we're always very happy if you click that little chat button and you have a question. Please reach out to us and ask anything that you might have in the chat, so we can make sure that you get the most out of the trial for writing a thesis, or of course, if you're writing a research paper, we can also help you with that. With that, I'm going to check along and see if there's anything waiting in questions. If you have any questions, you can also, of course, type now. I will wait a minute or two just to make sure that we cover everything. And then I don't want to take more of your time than is needed. So if there are no questions, of course, we can also close a bit earlier. Okay, one question came in. Can my co-authors have email addresses outside? Yes. So you will have a premium account, but you can use this invite an author feature with anyone who has an email address. They will get asked to sign up for a free SciFlow account. So you can just put in their email, and they will receive that invitation, and they will join your document with their free account. And they can export it, they can do all the things, but you, of course, you get the premium features on top. Yeah, I'm going to wait again just to see if there's anything more. If not,
in the meantime, may I can we see the editor of quotations, because I have noticed that
absolutely.
There is no caption. It's possible to put in a caption of the
we actually,
because in the list of the pictures and tables, there is a list of quotation, and it's saying nothing. It's just
it's basically stating the LaTeX equation.
Yeah.
There's no caption right now. Usually they are numbered 1, 2, 3, so you can see the 1 here. So this is also how they will be in the export. So I don't know how this template is configured, but usually we put a 1 at the side. So this is decided by the faculty. So let me just see what we did here, just to be sure. Yeah, this template doesn't do numbering, but this can be turned on. So it will have a 1 on the side, and this is usually how we refer to them. There are some more features hidden here that you currently don't see for screen readers, for instance. So we have another version hidden behind here that's actually reading out the equation on its own.
But I can see in the text that there is already it's a 1, so it's citing as a numbered. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on. Okay.
It depends on the template. So there will always be a number. It could be with a square bracket or a round bracket, and then this is how you can do it. I haven't seen numbered or label captions a lot, but this is, of course, also that's something that we can turn on in the future.
Okay.
Yes, any more questions? Well, then I'm checking the chat for the last time. No more questions. So thank you all for joining us. We will share the recording. We will share the links. So please make sure to forward this to anyone you think might benefit from using SciFlow. You can get started with your thesis, with your research paper, really anything. And then again, please reach out if you have any questions. We want to make this successful for you. So of course, if there's anything that you need, you just let us know. The last thing, if you don't find the journal template that you want to start writing with, there's a little button here, request a template. Please click that. If the journal is not here, we will create it for you. And this is another service that, of course, you get as part of your trial. With that, I'm going to hand it back. but also say thank you and have a nice afternoon.
Tiež vám chcem poďakovať za pozornosť. Na obrazovke som ešte dal základné kontakty na naše spoločnosti v Čechách a na Slovensku s e-mailovými adresami na kolegyňu Luciu Poledníkovú alebo na mňa, pokiaľ by ste mali nejaké otázky. Kľudne sa na nás obráťte, pošleme vám potom odkaz na ten záznam, ktorý bude na YouTube zverejnený. A pokiaľ nie sú naozaj žiadne ďalšie otázky, tak aj ja vám ďakujem pekne za pozornosť. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
And you, bye-bye. Thanks for coming.